Like so many founders, we created TAG due to pain points that we've seen in our own lives. We couldn't help but notice a pattern. Women in our lives had certain symptoms, frequent headaches, hot flashes, daily pain, and they would go to the doctor for help. These symptoms were either shrugged away or they were discredited because there weren't really any good measurement tools or research to help them to understand what to do with those symptoms. So we created TAG to give a voice to these silent symptoms. And we are a team uniquely poised to tackle this. I'm Renee, I'm the research and analytics lead. I have a background in research across academia and tech.
And hey, I'm Cat, I'm CTO of TAG, and I've been building data-centric tech products for over a decade now.
Hi everyone, I'm Alicia and I'm on the business side, and my background is in data science and venture.
So when exploring what specific problem to tackle, menopause actually quickly rose to the top as an area of huge unmet needs, not surprising to anyone here. It's not only extremely expensive, with medical costs being at over $25 billion, not even accounting for the cost from reduced productivity at work, but it's also extremely common, affecting almost all women at some point. And most of these women suffer. 85% report debilitating symptoms, and 70% of them never seek any treatment. And even amongst the minority that do seek treatment, 70% do not feel they receive adequate care. So clearly we see that these women are not being supported. They're left to try their best to help themselves. So here we're going to look at the experience of 3 women. Anke has joint pain throughout the day. She just wants to understand the timing of that pain so she can plan her pain management accordingly. Nara has night sweats. She wants a non-disruptive way to log when they happen so she can go to her doctor armed with data. And Monica has hot flashes. She suspects her alcohol consumption and the timing of that might be the trigger, but being able to track that could enable her to tweak her habits.
So the current market is filled with apps and wearables which still aren't allowing women to accurately track their symptoms and triggers. Tracking either requires too much disruption from your day. For example, you're not going to want to pull out an app to track a headache if your hands are full or if you're in the middle of a meeting. Wearables usually have a price point that locks out the majority of women from accessing this kind of data. And finally, the competition is overwhelming and often requires the user to be both a tech wizard and have a medical background in order to decipher the information that's being surfaced. We have made a commitment to remove all of these barriers to entry and make TAG affordable, customizable, disruption-free, and most importantly, simple. And now I have the fun job of introducing TAG. Okay, so our vision is to build a platform that allows women to track and take control of their health data and symptoms, to opt into studies and contribute to research, to follow science-backed pathways to manage and eliminate symptoms, and finally, to access relevant research, resources, and community in a super simple and digestible way. But what is it we're building so far? So we've been working recently on our prototype, on our MVP, which involves a very simple and configurable bracelet that allows the wearable to track any symptoms and triggers with just the touch of a button. There is a companion app that allows the user to configure the triggers and symptoms they're tracking, and then they're able to see these personalized insights. We're also looking at integrating with existing wearables in order to provide even more health data into the insights. And what you're seeing here is the initial MVP plan that we've been working on, as well as some of the additional functionality that we'll be rolling out over the next few months. The things in bold are where we've started. So if you go back to Monica, who we met at the start of this, Monica is running a meeting and all of a sudden she's experiencing a hot flash. Discreetly, without any interruption for the meeting, she's able to just press the button to track the symptom and then just continue on with her day. Later that day, she opens the TAG app and she's able to see trends of her hot flashes over the last few weeks. And I'll hand over to Alicia.
Thanks, Kat. So we see a great market opportunity here. As we all know, there's a huge underserved market. We see a SOM of 10 million users in the US and the EU with access to health tracking who are women in menopause who are interested in tracking their health symptoms. We see a hybrid go-to-market strategy as a possibility here. So direct-to-consumer launch with partnerships with health apps and wearable companies, but also collaborating with health-focused influencers, menopause advocacy groups, and also menopause health platforms and companies like Versalie. We have an ambitious scaling strategy, so we'd love to expand into global markets, eventually with healthcare partnerships, such as clinics, OBGYN networks, employer-based benefits to sort of increase our reach and adoption. One of our missions is to keep this as affordable and accessible as possible. This is also one of our differentiators. So we're looking at a subscription or one-time purchase model that allows us to capture the price-sensitive market. You can see a couple of assumptions below as a starting point. So you might be wondering how we would spend the money if we were to get some initial funding. Priorities for us are to build out our validation studies. So we've done a little bit of customer research now, but with some additional capital, we'd really be able to expand those efforts. And the other priority for us is to expand our hardware development. So just to recap, TAG is the low-cost, one-touch personalized health solution. And if we think back to these women, they're able to solve their problems through TAG. So Anke is able to capture her joint pain and target her medication accordingly so she can feel better during the day. We see Nara, who's armed with the precise data on the frequency and timing of her night sweats, so she's able to have a more useful and productive conversation with her doctor. And then finally, Monica is able to time and cut out or control her alcohol intake to adjust for her hot flashes and feel better in that sense as well. So we envision TAG as being a great solution for all sorts of use cases like these. And we'd be very excited to have your assistance in making this a reality. So we'll say thank you. Very honored to be here, and let's open it up to Q&A.
Thank you so much for a fantastic overview. Really great showcase. So we are going to open it up to the questions from our judges, and I will start this time with Russ because you didn't get to ask last time. So Russ, do you have any questions?
Yeah, thank you. That was a wonderful presentation. Just a little bit, a couple questions on the actual device itself. Like when the tag, what is the underlying like technology inside that? And when you push that to track something, how does it know what symptom it is? It seems like it's a nice way to passively track something, but what other feedback is needed from the user?
Nice, and I can try and answer this one. So thank you for the question. At the moment, we're using a third-party device. It's like a big button that we can clip onto clothes. Our goal eventually is to have this more customizable Bluetooth button. We're looking at a variety of existing solutions as well as potentially manufacturing our own. The app itself is going to allow you, or does allow you, to customize. So at the moment, we have 3 inputs. You can either press once, twice, or hold the button down, which allows you to have 3 different things that you're tracking. And you can say whether that's a trigger or a symptom. And so this fundamentally should be able to work on its own. But if you have something like an Aura, an Apple Watch, a Fitbit, we can also add that more holistic view of everything else that's going on alongside that as well. And that should provide more insightful, personalized information.
Thank you. Jill, any questions from you?
Yeah, I was wondering, I think, we've long asked patients to journal or track things, but nobody is very good at keeping that piece of paper along with them. So I certainly appreciate the problem you're trying to solve here. I was wondering what the output would be as far as like a generated report that someone could bring to the visit, or how that would foster communication with the healthcare team.
I can take this one. Sorry. Right now, this is something that we're looking to build out as we can scale so that we have more and more data, and eventually want it to be like a more comprehensive thing that includes a lot of our proprietary research as well. So that's something we're working towards. Right now, it is very much like, I think in our visual, there's like a timeline in which we're able to show kind of just the bare bones tracking of the information. We want to develop it to have like more insights and AI linked onto that. But right now it is like the comment, or like the barrier to entry is quite low. Like you said, most of the time it is people just like coming in with like scribbled notes that they're like trying to decipher, especially for things like night sweats, where they're like trying to like take screenshots with people we've talked about, and they just like, we have these screenshots and that shows when it happened. And it's like, we're just trying to move in a direction where we can start off by just having it show up as data, because data is so powerful to bring to the doctor.
And so I was going to ask, start at the top of the judges sort of list, going back to Ben, but if other judges have a question, a burning question, please raise your hand and we can get you out there. But Ben, do you have any questions for the team?
I do. I have a quick one. Great presentation, super interesting innovation. Love the concept behind it. Do you have plans to push into behavior change. So you have tracking at this point, giving really good insight to what's going on based on those tracking points. Do you hope to bring in behavior change? Are you going to do that yourself? Do you want to do connections to other platforms to do it? Bit of a loaded question, but what's your plan of the what's next that comes after a consumer gets their input?
I can take that one also, 'cause it's more on the research side. Yeah, I mean, that would be absolutely the direction we'd want to go. It's like we're trying to, like I said, move and achieve the lowest hanging fruit first and move along and eventually hope to move to the place where like not only are we uncovering insights and hopefully linking that up with some of the good research, but as we're building that research, which I think everyone here knows, there is just a paucity of good research on menopause. And once we're able to like bring in more people into the fold, get more of that research, then we're going to actually have like that scientifically backed like behavioral change kind of like journey we can take people on that isn't like, you know, just based on assumptions. It's based on the fact that we've actually been able to see evidence of this actually working and giving them tangible solutions. Because yeah, right now, I know the last time they were like, you know, sometimes they just say take supplements. There's just like a lot of misinformation, sometimes good information, but not well supported. So we're trying to hopefully bridge that gap as we kind of move along.
Kristen, any questions you might have?
Hi, team. Yeah, just a quick question for me. I know I thought that the initial focus of like partnering with other health apps like Aura and Apple Watch was really smart and a really great way to validate your ideas with real users. Just curious if there are any like known limitations with like third-party hardware that you anticipate might affect the user experience or the accuracy of the data that you're collecting. Is that in terms of the device that we'll be building or with the actual integrations with the other devices? The integration with the other devices to help you get quicker into the market. Yeah. I think the goal 100% would be to partner with them as quick as possible. I think the biggest thing we really want to like just reiterate is we do not want people to have to spend $400 plus to actually have these sorts of insights. So for us, it's super important that as a standalone offering, the tag bracelet can provide enough insights to actually be worthwhile on its own. So I think our main priority will be for that comprehensive kind of viewpoint. But yeah, working with these partners, we're very fortunate to be in a world where a lot of, like from the technical point of view, a lot of these other offerings have really great APIs that we can just hone in on and use. They've already got a lot, like Aura, for example, has a lot, and Apple have a lot of good stuff out there just to sort of iterate and like work with them. So we're not seeing that as too much of a barrier to entry because there's a lot of good documentation. Like we've got a lot of good engineering power that we can actually utilize here. So yeah, I think it's going to complement it quite well.
Yeah, I just want to add on to what Kat said. I think that we're all three of us are technical and we've explored some of the API integrations already. So I think that's one of the strengths of our team and we're excited to see where it goes. That's a great question.